Hey folks, this is Jason Good with The Good Life Outdoors. I have a project that I've been putting off for far too long. And it's really special to me. It's kind of something I've grown up with. My grandfather, back in the late 70s, early 80s, built himself an offset smoker. And growing up, he always used that thing. He loved to cook on it. My favorite that he would make is beef ribs. I could eat the heck out of them. And when he passed in 1998, that smoker came to me and I used it for years and years and really got a lot of great use out of it. But unfortunately, I just kind of let it fall by the wayside and kind of fall into disrepair. It started developing some rust, it started getting some soft spots in it, and I put it aside as kind of a later project, and over the years it's just kind of fallen apart. Now it's made out of really thick metal, at least the main body of it, and this thing is super heavy. And so what I'm hoping to do is get it put back together so that I can use it and hopefully be something I can pass on to my kiddo. So I'm going to walk you through the disassembling of it and putting it back together. This may be over several episodes, but we'll just go ahead and get started. Now, my grandfather was just a craftsman by trade. He was a mechanic, a small engine repairman. He worked for John Deere for years and years, so he was just kind of a jack of all trades. I wouldn't call him a expert welder, and you'll probably see some of his welds that were on there, but he put together a very solid smoker, and he put a lot of pieces on that you'll kind of see that he tried things out over the years and then welded over them, and what he ended up with worked well for him and worked well for me. But as I'm kind of coming into this, I want to build this as I would like to use it. So I'm going to be cutting pieces off of it. But first I've got to get the thing cleaned up. You know, it's been sitting there in my yard. It's been rusting. There's places where it's just completely rusted through, especially where the supports have come into it, so it's unstable. There were creatures living in it throughout the years, so I need to clean all of that out. And for the most part, I just need to get things out of it just to reduce the weight of it, because the thing is so heavy. It's made with some really thick metal. So I'm going to be pulling out all the stuff that's in there right now. You know, I had bricks for raising the fire up in there. I had pieces of the grill, and then of course there's stuff that was brought in there by other inhabitants. So I'm gonna pull all that apart and get it cleaned up so that I can start looking at it and figuring out how I want to get working on the structure of it. Once I get everything cleared out, I needed to lay this thing over on its side just for the fact that it was so cumbersome. And so I'm carefully doing that here so that I can start cutting on it. So I know in taking on this project, it's going to be kind of a labor of love. I am coming at this completely without any experience in this. I don't even know how to weld right now. So it's something I'm gonna have to learn along the way. And I think it's gonna be a good project to learn that with. There's all sorts of different kinds of welds that I'm going to need to be able to do to make this work. So that's gonna come at a later time when I actually pick up a welder. To begin with, I'm going to be taking off some of the pieces that I know aren't going to work. So I'm gonna start off with these leg supports. As you can see, they've just kind of pushed in the metal of the old firebox, which was weakened by years and years of running raging fires in them. And the way they were set up, they were really kind of cumbersome. The wheels that were on them didn't work really well for moving the thing around easily. So I'm gonna completely rethink that. I'm gonna cut that off. I'm also going to cut off the front wheel as it's just kind of unstable. It was always kind of cumbersome to move around. So I'm cutting off the supports for those and then the leg itself. Now, as I mentioned before, the firebox, at least the lower part of it, has just kind of rusted through and is done. So I'm going to cut that completely off. I'm probably going to be enlarging the whole bottom part of that firebox, as the upper part's perfectly fine. Like I said, it's made out of really, really thick metal. So I'm going to be cutting that off so that, for one, it's taking the weight off there, and I can really kind of think through how I want it to look once I start welding it back up. The last thing I'm going to remove is the chimney topper. I'm probably going to be doing some sort of damper up here, so I want to have this off here. It's just a piece of angle iron welded into place, so it's easy enough to come off. So why am I rebuilding this old rusty thing? Well, it's part of my history. My grandfather built it, and I've used it for years. And it's a opportunity for me to learn some new skills, to be able to do something with my own hands, just like my grandfather did originally. And that's important to me. And so, yeah, I could go out and buy a brand new grill for a lot less money than my time and effort is worth, but I'd rather learn that new skill and do something with my own hands. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go buy or borrow a welder and learn how to do that. But that's a great skill to have, and I'm looking forward to learning it all. So that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I'm taking this on, and I hope that you follow along in this journey. This is about all the cutting I'm going to do on this for the time being. I just want to put it in my garage right now and get it out of the elements so that I can figure out the next steps for it once I procure a welder. This thing's heavy. It's still heavy even after everything I've taken off of it. So the wagon didn't work. So luckily I have a 2-wheel dolly, and I will be able to make that work from here and get this into the garage. Well, that's about as far as I'm going to get right now. It's safe and sound in the garage, out of the elements, and ready for the next steps. So, obviously more to come on that. I'll have more episodes coming up. In the meantime, if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you've ever done one of these projects before, I'd love to know how it worked out for you. Suggestions on which welder I should buy. I'm open for anything, so I'd love to hear from you. If you like what you saw today, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you do subscribe, go ahead and hit that notification button so you know when I post new videos. Now, I appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all get out there and live the good life. Thanks so much.